you guys started thinking, what are network resources? Let me, by the way, give you a phrase, a sentence, which might help you get a sense of what all of these are and what unifies them. Okay. Network resources are any kind of technology that's accessible through a network. That's it. Any technology that's accessible through a network. Okay. So some of these kinds of technology that we're going to refer to are not specific to networks, but you can hook them up to networks, and they commonly are. Okay. So let's start off with hardware. Someone want to shout out one example? This is the easy one, by the way. Software's good. Say it again.
SETI.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So SETI is a particular example. It's a massive network, isn't it? And there's plenty of technology that's accessible through it. Now, can we be a bit more specific? What's the technology which is being sort of provided? Be specific. It's more than just computers. Like, it's not like, fantastic, we have millions of people's keyboards all around the world accessible to... Which part of the computer is... Okay, thank you. So namely, CPUs. Okay? So what's going on here? Which processor are we talking about? This is, I suppose, both analyzing and processing. Okay? So the idea is, I want to do a lot of this, and being connected to a network allows me to access that from SETI's point of view, or from our point of view, make it available to others for a useful purpose. Okay? All right. CPUs. There's one example. Someone give me another one. What kinds of hardware do we usually plug into networks? Yeah. Printers. Thank you. Okay. So this is a different one. So again, this is associated with another process. Which one? Displaying. Thank you. Okay. Now, by the way, I hope you're seeing. Hopefully, I'm doing my job well, and this makes sense. That the 7 information processes. Okay, we covered them last year. This year, they're not like accessible topics. But the reason why we looked at them is because they're a really helpful lens to look at information systems, because it's a helpful way to see all the different kinds of things that a system can do. Okay. All right. I take it basically all of you have internet at home. But probably not every computer at home has its own separate internet connection, because that would be incredibly expensive. So what piece of technology do they all access the internet through? A modem or a router, right? Okay. So again, this thing is a node, and so is this, in a network, right? What process does this provide? Transmitting and receiving. And by virtue of being connected to that network, right, everyone can actually benefit from it. Yes? Okay, so we've got analyzing, processing, displaying, transmitting, and receiving. What kinds of other processes are we missing? We actually missed one from earlier. What would you need? What kind of hardware would you need for this? Hard drives? Lots of them, right? Okay, so therefore, storing and retrieving. Okay. We're pretty good on our processes so far. We're missing some. What are we missing? What's the first process usually? Collecting. Now, what might you think would you connect to a network that could do this for you? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So we're thinking about anything which can actually say provide us with information from the outside world, right? So let me give you a particular example, right? What does CCTV mean? Or what does CC stand for? Closed circuit. So what do we use these for? Generally, surveillance, right? In fact, one of these just got knocked out outside Pavlok. Actually, I don't know when during the weekend it happened, but a tree was blown over and took it out, along with a few other things. But anyway, what you've got is these cameras, right? They're not just all sitting out there on their own, working independently. They're all connected to a network, right? And so these all get fed, they all get recorded 24 hours a day into the library servers. And so they provide this process, this option, this resource to the entire network, or whichever parts of it have permission to access this data. Okay? I think that's a pretty good set. Of hardware. So if you didn't get some of those, make sure you get those. Now, with software, this is a little bit trickier. Who made some progress with software? Can you think of any examples of software that's accessible just through a network? Yeah.
Software that's on that terminal service.
Fantastic. Okay, so the terminal server, right? What's the idea here? It's a server which permits you guys on your terminals to access a whole bunch of, in your case, mainly application software. Okay, mostly application software. But also, not just application software, it gives you access to an entire operating system, which we're going to talk about in a second. That's the next stop point. An entire operating system which gives you permission and access to all of this stuff, right? Like say all these files, you can't get to it unless you're logged into the terminal server's particular operating system, okay? Because it manages permissions and all these kinds of other things that we need. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Any other kind of software that we're missing? Let me give you a clue. This question is way easier for you guys to answer than it was even, say, 4 or 5 years ago when I started teaching this course. There's a whole new, we talked about it a few times, there's a whole new kind of software which is accessible through networks. Yeah, okay, so you call it cloud software, right, in the cloud. You could also call it software as a service. That's a legit acronym. Capital S, lowercase a, capital S. Software as a service. So the idea that you can access your email, or store your videos, or publish all kinds of content through someone else's software. Okay, whether it's Facebook's or YouTube's or whoever's. Okay, all of this is software which is accessible through a network.